Hello, welcome to the Dixon Gallery and Gardens. My name is Bill Branch. I am a docent here at the museum, and I welcome you today to the Dixon. We have a new exhibit taking place here, and we're going to talk about that new exhibit. The title is America's Impressionism, Echoes of a Revolution. A lot of us are familiar with French Impressionism and what it is. Just a little background. In France, in the late 1800s, painting was sort of taken care of or overseen by the state, the government, and they painted in a particular style. But a group of artists in the late part of that century really shook up France and their art, and that is how we get that word revolution in the title of this show, because the French Impressionists came along, they painted in a total different way. They were rejected by the officials, people who dictated how you should paint, and their style was very loose, quick brushwork, and also getting just the impression of a scene. If you were to turn your head and look at a scene and glance at it shortly and then turn back, you got a little impression of what was over there. The Impressionists were also very interested in light and the atmosphere and light coming through the atmosphere. And so they did a lot of painting outdoors, en plein air it's called, and they began to gain their popularity. They actually, the old style of art went away, and French Impressionism became the preferred style in France. Meanwhile, in the United States, young people are studying to be artists. They, of course, would want to learn about what had happened in the past. Part of their studies, for a lot of them, if they could afford it, would be to go to Europe and tour countries there and see what was going on in France, in England, Germany, Italy. And so they were impressed by Impressionism and brought what they learned back to America and began to come up with America's version of Impressionism. They went all across the country. It kind of started on the eastern seaboard side, but they eventually worked all the way to the California coastline with different artists in different parts of the United States joining in and becoming Impressionists themselves. Today I want to focus on one particular painting that is in this exhibit. That is the painting which is right here behind me. It's a very large painting. This was painted by an artist whose name is Colin Campbell Cooper. He grew up in Philadelphia. He studied art. He even studied with a very famous artist whose name is Thomas Eakins in Philadelphia. But most of these young American artists did travel abroad, and this artist did go to Paris. There he might have fallen under the influence or seen examples of Claude Monet's work. Impressionists are very much about the landscape. And so in this current exhibit at the Dixon, as you walk through the galleries, you will see lots and lots of landscapes. You may not see that many buildings or architectural features, but that is what is going on in this painting. The title of it is The Palace of the Fine Arts, San Francisco, 1916. Cooper is in California and goes there because there is a kind of like a World's Fair. It's called the Panama Pacific Exposition. It's happening about 1915. It is celebrating the finishing of the Panama Canal with it opening up. So San Francisco, the city itself, San Francisco, was coming back from a horrible earthquake that had happened there about 1900, and they were trying to rebuild and show the world how they had recuperated from that tragic event. So they held this exposition. Lots and lots of buildings were built for that exposition, and including this one, which is called the Palace of the Fine Arts. Now, when that fair was over, a lot of that architecture was torn down. This particular one had become so iconic with that exposition and with San Francisco that it was left intact. As a matter of fact, it still stands in San Francisco today. If you are a tourist and you're sightseeing there, you will have more than likely seen this building or come across it. It's high up on a hill. So lots of paintings and art are shown in this building at that exposition. Cooper himself decided to paint the building that the art show was in. Beautiful landscape, beautiful architecture. It's Greco-Roman. They, of course, are hearkening back to architecture thousands of years before them. But there you can see a domed, open-air pavilion with colonnades going either side of it. This painting is definitely in the Impressionistic style because when you stand close to it, you will realize that it's heavily painted, thick layers of paint, and which is kind of blurry when you're close to it, but if you step back from it, it all comes together. Cooper is showing off possibly a relatively new thing for human beings to see at that time. Electricity had come along, but it wasn't prevalent. At nighttime, in most parts of cities, it was very dark. It was not well lit. The engineers or whoever set up this fair decided that they were, at nighttime, they were going to illuminate this building with electric lighting. And there you can see that in this night scene, and a night scene was very unusual for an Impressionistic painting. Most of the time, I tell you, they were involved in the effects of sunlight and atmosphere. You see very few nighttime scenes. Here we have one. And Cooper has recorded all these lights shining up on this building. I don't know whether they had color lights going on, but over in these areas, some of these small towers seem to have a green or blue area where that might have been a colored light shining. You also see light coming from the background where you can see into the colonnades with art behind there. And of course, the most wonderful part, I think, of this painting is the beautiful reflection happening in the pool that was specifically designed to capture the reflection of the building. Down here, for sure, you will see lots of streaks, rapid brushwork, that kind of thing. And then up in the beautiful sky, you see the dark, you see all those dark areas. And when you look close, you will see tiny little stars sparkling up there. So just imagine people in 1915 attending this fair, maybe at nighttime, and walking up upon that and being amazed that with electricity, with the invention of electricity, they were able to see this kind of a phenomenon that, that they had never experienced before. So I hope you will come and see this wonderful exhibit. The paintings in it are beautiful. It will be on display here until May the 9th. So thank you.